Good morning all. Well, it's Monday morning and it's 7 a.m. in the morning, so it's a nice early start for me. Back out on the lawn again, and we've got some great blue skies today. It's been a bit wet the last few days, so it's nice to have a good dry day to be out here again. As you can see behind me, the Cooch lawn has recovered really well from the renovation. We've got really good growth, really good coverage, which is fantastic. But the best thing of all, there's no signs of disease, which was the one big thing that I was concerned about coming into winter. So no signs there, which is fantastic. And this now allows us to take the next steps on what I was planning for winter. So I can share that with you all now. Today, we are going to overseed my Cooch lawn with Perennial Rye Grass. This is something that isn't really common in a home lawn scenario in WA, but over east it's big, and of course you see all your sports fields and ovals going through and overseeding their lawn with rye for winter sports. So something I've always wanted to do. I've got Dan coming over today to give me a hand, and he hasn't done this either, so it's a good new experience for both of us to learn, and hopefully we can share that knowledge of today's experience. We're going to share our process of what we're going to do, so hopefully that helps you in your decision whether you're going to overseed in rye, or if you are, it's going to help give the information on how to do it. So really looking forward to today, and when Dan gets here, we'll do a bit of a walk over the lawn and we'll start our demonstration. So I will talk to you all soon. All right, back on the lawn, and we have Dan here. How you going, Dan?
Morning, very well, thanks.
Looks like you've got a nice new machine there. It's a nice way to make a 28-inch look small. Let us know what you got.
So it's a MoMaster high cut 36-inch with 8-blade cylinder and a GX390 Honda.
No, this is going to make the lawn look good when we get the rye overseas. We're going to have some nice big ryegrass stripes. So
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, looking forward to that. So that was part of the inspiration of getting this ryegrass down, was to see how it looked with some nice big stripes. But Dan has quite a few big lawns, so this is going to make his job quite easier. So today, the process is going to be, and you can see a little bit on the lawn now, so the lawn's getting quite dense itself. And if we go a little bit more into the shaded area, we can start to see a little bit of the soil canopy there. So we need to see a bit more of the soil canopy. So we're going to take the groomer out again today, and we're just going to thin it out a little bit more, just so we can see that soil. Now, we need to see the soil because the seed itself needs to sit on top of the soil canopy, and then we can roll it in. So we want to make sure we have as much soil contact as possible to protect the seed and help with a better germination rate. So the lawn is quite thick all over, so we'll probably do a couple of passes to thin it out, and I'll show you what it looks like once we're done. Now, the process to get to this point, we've had to do a couple of other things prior to this. The Cooch was growing quite rapidly before today, so we had to slow that right down. So last Thursday, I put out an application of plant growth regulator, and I went at the rate of 20 mils per 100 square meters, so a really high dose, just to slow the grass right down, just to allow the seed to germinate and grow without having the long Cooch needing a cut and taking away part of the seed. So we really want to put the Cooch to sleep now, so that's why we've done it. So I've did that, and I've also given it a really low mow, so you can see it's kind of scalped a little bit, and we're down to about 8 mil at the moment, and hopefully it will stay at that height while we do the ryegrass. So when we do the ryegrass and we get full growth, we want to get it to about that 25 millimeter mark, and that's where we'll probably maintain the rye, because that's probably where we'll get the best stripes from, at that height. We also applied a starter a few days prior, so we use EcoGrowth Red as a starter fertilizer, and this will just help the germination of the ryegrass itself. So we'll go out now, we'll give it a groom, and you can see a little bit of thin patches over there. We'll give it a groom, and we'll show you all once it's all done. Okay, so now we've just gone through. We've ended up doing 4 passes with the groomer. The lawn itself was really, really thick and dense, so we ended up having to go over a few more times just to thin it out. We checked it after the first 2 passes and it was still quite thick in areas. So just having that extra passes just helped thin it out a bit more. You can see here, we're showing a lot of good soil now. Still a lot of good cooch showing through, a lot of rhizomes that are still there showing. And that'll be good for when we decide to spray the rye out and then let the cooch come back. The cooch will come back nice. So looking pretty good. Over here, it was where it was thicker because we get the more of a sunny area over here. We just cut it off with a 36 as well, so we just cut it down to 8 mil. And like I said, the ryegrass that we're using, which is from Advanced Seed, and it's their Champion League rye, they recommend between 12 and 25 mil. So we'll have a bit of a play with the heights just to see what's going to work best to get us the best stripes. But this is the sunny section now. We ended up doing a spot groom in the end, so this part here ended up having 5 passes over it just to thin it right out. So it was, yeah, very dense, which is pretty good for post verti mowing a couple of weeks. So we got our ryegrass here, and we'll show you the seed here. So it's very thin, very light. And the recommended rate for this for overseeding is 4 kilos per 100 square meters. So we've just gone through and measured it out. We measured out, we're gonna do this area here with some top dress. So I've got some top dress here, and we're just gonna use whitewash because we don't, this time of the year, we just don't wanna risk any weeds in the soil. So we've gone whitewash, and we're just doing a bit of a trial for seeing what works best, because to put the seed out and then the light top dress with soil will just help protect the seed. So we're going to do a bit of a comparison with an area with seed, with top dress and without top dress. And when I weighed this out, the scale's gone off. 500 grams was just under 1.5 litres. So this will help determine it when we do the rest of the lawn, so we don't have to weigh it the whole time. We just go to that 1.5 litre mark and can fill it out. So at least by doing this 60 square meters first, we can determine what setting we have the spreader on. So I'm using the Shindawa RS41, and we can work out what number to put it on, just so we don't use too much seed or not enough seed. We want it to make sure we get it out evenly. So we'll put the seed out now, and then we'll do a roll in. We'll use Dan's 36 to roll it all in, and then we'll come back and we'll top dress this section here and see how it all goes. So we'll get seeding now. And we are done. We've just given it the first watering. I'll probably have to water it a few times a day just to keep this seed moist. So we want to keep that seed moist to help it germinate. It's not allowed to get dry. I don't think we can get an exemption from Water Corp to allow us to water as much as when we get a new lawn, but I'll have to check that out and see. Otherwise I'm out here with the hose multiple times throughout the day. I don't mind that, but yeah, big area, it will take a bit of time to water each day. So I think today's process was, yeah, definitely a challenge. Took longer than what we think. I think it would have been better when we first verti-mowed the lawn the other week. However, we got there in the end. After 4 passes with the groomer and 1 spot groom, we got the canopy open enough to allow the seed to sit on the soil, and it seems to be sitting in quite nice. We did the top dress. You would have seen in the video, it was a bit hard to get the top dress out. It was very, very wet. All that rain just made the top dress wet, but we got that out in the end as well. So I just wanted to do a quick walkover. It's really windy, and I'm going to do our final debrief back in the shed again like I did with the last video, because I feel like I can get a bit more detail out to you all, and I had a good response from that. So I thought I'll quickly show you over the lawn now we're done, and this is all watered in again now. So there's only a light top dress, and it's going to be good to see the comparison between the top dressed area and the non-top dressed area. So yeah, so I'll definitely keep you all posted. But yeah, very happy with the end result of this. Absolutely worn out now though, and looking forward to a rest. So I will see you all in the shed for the debrief. Back in the shed again. Well, today was a challenge. It was yeah, big job, that's for sure. It's definitely something we weren't expecting to be such a challenge, just trying to thin out the couch lawn. We'd only renovated it 3 weeks ago, and the coverage was already quite fantastic, and it was very dense already. So next year, I think what we'll do when we do it again is we'll do that full renovation with the verti-mow, and we'll do the scarified 2 passes, and then we'll do the cleanup with the groomer, and that's how we'll start our rye process next year, rather than trying to do a easy kind of groom and just clean it out. Because as you could see, it took us 4 passes with the groomer just to thin it out, and we even had to do a couple of sections where it was really thick that 5th time just to make sure we had that soil canopy open. So I don't think we'll beat around the bush next year, and we'll just go straight in with the verti-mow and get it done. So that's probably the biggest advice I'll give right now, ready for anyone who's planning on doing this, is you got to go hard to get that soil canopy open. So we're going to have a bit of a debrief of the process and share the information. So it's just in one short video. What we did 5 days before we applied, before we put out the Perennial Rye Grass, is we applied a plant growth regulator. So I used Astro 120 by Turf Culture, and I applied at the rate of 20 mils per 100 square meters. Now this is a really high rate for couch. Normally I'd only use about 10 mils per 100 square meters. So this has really put the couch to sleep now. And because we've got low overnights and low day temperatures, that PGR will last in the turf for a lot longer than what it would normally through spring and summer when it's warmer. However, it has to be done, because what this does now is allows the ryegrass to germinate without having any issues of the couch lawn growing rapidly and needing a cut. So it just protects the ryegrass and just allows that to germinate now. A day after we applied the PGR, I applied a starter fertilizer at the full rate. So I use Eco Growth Eco Prime Red as my starter fertilizer, and this will just help the germination now of the ryegrass seed and help that root growth to start getting stronger straight away and get that growth happening. I'm going to put a note here, because I didn't use a pre-emergent this year, no pre-emergent herbicide for me this year, because we're overseeding with ryegrass and the ryegrass is sending out new shoots. We can't use a pre-emergent herbicide, so just keep that in mind. If you plan on overseeding, you cannot use a pre-emergent herbicide. So the day before so a couple of days before we did the overseed, I cut the lawn. Now this is only optional. I only did this because I just wanted to see how the cooch was traveling in the growth after the PGR had worked. So we cut it down to 8 mil, and then in that couple of days I could see how much growth we had in the cooch, which was minimal. So that was great. The day of the overseeding, we went through. We thinned out the grass, and it took quite a bit. So the purpose is to thin the grass out and get exposed soil, and we need that exposed topsoil, so like the exposed of the soil. So when we apply our seed, the seed can sit on top of the soil and we can roll it in. Rather than having the grass there, the seed could sit on top of the grass and it won't germinate by sitting on the grass. So it really needs that soil contact to be able to germinate. And then when you roll it in, it really makes that contact happen. So you can roll, we use Dan's 36-inch high cut. You can use a water drum and roll it out as well. So the seed that we did use was Advanced Champion League Ryegrass seed. So this is quite, I got it from one of the suppliers here in Perth, and it's quite common here in WA for sports situations. And hopefully we'll be able to use it next year for residential use as well, which is good. So the germination was quite, it's got different cultivators of different perennial ryegrasses, and the germination rate was really high, which is what I liked. The recommended rate was 3 to 4 kilos per 100 square meters. I planned for 5 kilos per 100 square meters over the whole turf, and I applied on the day 4 kilos per 100 square meters. So I went the higher rate on the day, and I've kept 100 so 1 kilo spare per 100 square meters. So if I had to do any patchwork later, a little bit more extra over sowing, then I've got it there spare, ready to go. We did top dress in the 60 square meter section. I just wanted to trial that to see the difference between that section and the rest of the lawn, because for a big area to top dress that whole area, it just adds a massive process to the whole day as well. So I just wanted to see if we could get away without top dressing. The benefit of top dressing is, one, it protects the seed by having that top dress over the top. It protects the seed and from, can be over like heavy rain and also wind and also birds. So the birds will probably start picking at the lawn as well. But just having that coverage on the seed just helps that. And also the whitewash that I use, so the top dress that I use, holds moisture for a bit longer than what exposed topsoil will. So the seed on the main lawn where I haven't top dressed will probably dry out faster than what the seed would that has been top dressed. So if it's an area, so if you're, say, can't be around every couple of hours to keep that seed wet and moist, well then the top dress might be the best way to go for you, because it can just hold that moisture for a little bit longer, and you might only need a couple more waters rather than I'm going to have to water 4 times throughout the day. So we'll quickly touch base on the watering now anyway as well. I'll be watering 4 times a day. We're lucky at the moment, we're getting quite a bit of dew at the moment, so in the morning the grass has been wet, so I'm hoping that's going to keep the seed moist in the morning, and then I can come out about 8:30, give it a water, and then I'll probably water every couple of hours. So I think I'm going to go 8:30, 11:30, 12:30, 3:30, and then probably 5:30 just to finish off the day in my watering with the hose. Did check with Watercorp, unfortunately can't get an exemption for it, so it's out with a hose for me, unless my 2 watering days I get 1 free. Bit of relief to use the reticulation on it, so I don't mind that at the moment. It probably is only until it's all germinated, so hopefully within 12 days we get that germination, and then I can start slowing the water use down, and I can go to probably 3 waters a day and then drop it down to 2 waters a day, and then hopefully just the odd water just to keep it going strong. So I'm going to leave that at that now. Hopefully next week I'll have another video showing the germination and my coverage, and whether I've got to do any more overseeding just to protect it. And then in about 2 weeks time we'll have the video of giving it a mow. So I won't go into too much detail of that today, because it's just going to make this video very long. But hopefully this gives you the information that you need to start the process and make your decision on what you want to do. And yeah, it was a great day still, although it was really full on. It was a great day. So hopefully this helps. And if you have any questions though, you can always ask, and I will see you on the next video when we do the germination once it's germinated. So thank you again for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.